let's get to the angels. Now, this is the third kind. So you have cherubim, and you've got seraphim, and then you've got messengers, which is what angels mean. And there are ranks among the angels, principalities and powers. Michael is the top rank. In fact, the Bible calls him the Archangel. Arch means chief, the chief angel. And every time you see Michael, you see him in battle. He shows up ready to fight. He's fighting with Satan in the book of Jude. He's fighting in Revelation with the dragon. Him and his host, and the dragon and his host fighting together, and Michael winning and casting him down. You see Michael standing up, the great prince over the nation of Israel, over your people, he says to Daniel. So he's a prince, and there's princes over nations. When Gabriel said he was fighting the prince of Persia and the prince of Greece in the book of Daniel, Michael said, Gabriel said to Daniel, I only have Michael, one of the chief princes, to help me. So that's the reason that we think that there's more chief princes than just one. And we don't know who they are. And are they equal to Michael, or is Michael over them? We don't know. Is there a hierarchy in the chief princes that Gabriel was talking about? But we do have him called the chief prince, but also referred to as one of the chief princes. And Michael's the one who will finally get Satan and throw him out. And Satan was high up in the rankings in heaven. They have an appearance like a man. As I said earlier, cherubim, seraphim have wings. Messenger angels do not. And angels means messenger, so I'm just going to say angels. They do not. They look like a man. Sometimes they look like men, and they are recognized as normal men. And sometimes they have an appearance that's downright frightening. The angel that rolled away the stone is an example of how frightening they can look. It says in Matthew 28, 3 through 5, his countenance was like lightning, his clothing as white as snow, and the guard shook for fear of him, and became like dead men. But the angels answered and said to the woman, do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. So his countenance like lightning, his clothing white as snow. The guard shook for the fear of this angel that turned away the stone. In Psalms 103, 20 and 21, we read this last week. Blessed be the Lord, you his angels who excel in strength. They are strong, they are powerful, they excel in strength, who do his word, heeding the voice. Bless the Lord, all you his host, you ministers of his who do his pleasure. There are over 100 million angels. The Bible says twice, 10,000 times 10,000s and thousands of thousands of the angels were worshiping him. That 10,000 times 10,000 is 100 million. I think that the number thousands times 10,000s and thousands of thousands is just this great big number. I think it's more than 100 million. I do. I just think it's their way. In Greek, the highest number you could get to was 10,000. So you had to start doing some form of 10,000 after a while. So it's just talking about this huge number. I want to read it to you. We'll get there in our next study, probably. Then I looked and I heard a voice of many angels around the throne and living creatures and the elders. And the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of thousands. Now, angels in the New Testament, in the Bible, an angel set Peter free from prison, strengthened and encouraged Paul in Corinth. Some, the Bible says, have entertained angels. You may have entertained angels. The Bible says the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him. Angels rejoice in salvation when one person is saved. Angels announced the resurrection. Jesus commands angels. He said, don't you know I could command 12 legions of angels to come and help me right now? He said to Peter when he cut off the high priest's ear. An angel appeared and spoke to Philip and told him where to go. I think angels are working all around us. Now, obviously, I couldn't go to all these places, right? That's why I said the study of angels is like, and what they do in the Bible is like a series of teaching, not one teaching. There's no way to do it. Children have angels. The concept of guardian angels, the first thing that angels do, the cherubim, is guard men from going back into the garden and being hurt. And now children have angels. when the disciples went to Jesus and said, who's the greatest in the kingdom? And I got to think that it was like, who's the greatest in the kingdom? Right, Jesus? Who's the greatest in the kingdom? Because they always argued about it. The disciples argued about who's the greatest. So Jesus went and took a child and stood a child in the midst of them and said, you've got to become like this child in order to make it into heaven. You guys want to talk about who's greatest? You guys haven't even done what you need to do to get into heaven yet. You got to be like this child to get into heaven. And then as he went a little further, he said this, take heed that you do not despise one of these little ones. For I say to you that in heaven their angels always see the face of my Father who is in heaven. And the Son of Man has come to serve that which was lost. And so there are the concept of guardian angels for children Jesus spoke of.